What's up everyone and welcome to FAQ112. I'm very excited and very happy that you're spending this Sunday together with me. And you know what, I really don't have that much to say, so I'm just gonna go ahead with the questions right away. I'm trying out these John Petrucci NYC EldvÄg guitar picks today. I'm wondering why, because I have also a flow pick that is John Petrucci signature, and the size is so different. What is he playing? I have no idea. What? Tony Rodriguez. So I guess the more we pay, the closer we are to your heart. LOL. Tony is referring to my latest FAQ where I talk about my members being my best friends. And to some degree, actually, I found a lot of friends among my members over at Discord. Yeah, in some way, the friends that have been paying me have now become some of my closest friends. And we hang out. So I'm basically like a hooker. And they pay me for my time. MK, when are you doing another song with Krim? EldvÄg was out of this world. Thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful comment. But really, was that song really out of this world? I thought it was okay. I mean, the song itself, a little bit of a meatball and potato song. It's what I usually call it, just like when there's stupid riffs. But Krim's drumming on that song is gas, basically. I mean, he even made like playthroughs at a Mainland drum festival with this song, and he's slaying it. And I'm feeling like a dork, like playing my stupid riffs, and Krim's like all over the place. Krim definitely made that song a lot better than I anticipated. But there you go. Will we do more EldvÄg? I don't know. Time will tell. Just not on my radar right now, I guess. Carlos Garley, what are your thoughts on old school shredders like George Lynch and Randy Rhoads? Okay, my thoughts on these two guys is that I should have started listening to them a long time ago. You know, I've been hearing bits and pieces from both guys. You know, George Lynch with Lynch Mob, and what I've heard so far, it's fantastic. And I'm not even sure why I'm not listening more to that. Both these guys have been on my radar, and I've been trying to kind of like, you know, get some time to get into them and get more into their playing styles, but I just haven't had the time. And Randy Rhoads, obviously a legend, gone way too soon. I know he had a ton of chops. Basically, all I can do is just blame myself in this because, you know, I should have listen a lot more to these guys than I have, and I feel a little bad for that. After this FAQ, I'm gonna do my homework, okay? There you go. Rager27E, saw you shred with Jared Dines, and I think you nailed it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I did a shred wars with Jared Dines, and you know, when he contacted me the first time, I was like, oh, you know, I don't shred that hard. You know, and I watched the previous ones he did with the guy from Rings of Saturn and, you know, Jason Richardson, and like, those guys are insanely talented guitar players and very technical as well. And here I am like, what should I do? And I was a little intimidated until I got the backing track from Jared. And when I heard it, it was like, shit, okay. It seems like he has kind of made the backing track, you know, fit me in a way. And looking back to, you know, the Rings of Saturn guitar player and Jason Richardson, it seems like the backing tracks for their videos were also catered with that player in mind. So when I received the backing tracks, you know, I was really pleasantly surprised. Those were made for me to, you know, kind of do my thing on. They really spoke a lot to me. So when I did write everything for this, I basically did it in a couple of hours. And I mean, for me, writing solos is basically the hardest part about guitar playing. But, you know, those solos basically took me 2 or 3 hours just to nail and record. That's not a lot of time for a guy like me. So it was a lot of fun. And I think Jared actually also showed a new side of him with his more melodic playing. So I really enjoyed that. If you haven't seen that video, go click up here and get that sorted, because I think I did a good job. I think Jared did an amazing job. Thank you so much for having me, Jared. Coffee with Jared, maybe, at NAMM. Chaosware. Hi Ola, are you thinking about bringing your own music on tour? I would love to hear Master of the Universe live. Thank you so much. After I did my live stream of the full album, I did a live stream last week. Since I made that live stream, I've gotten a couple of bookers actually contact me asking me if I wanted to play my shit live. And you know what? Even though it would be awesome, I would love to go out and play this live. It also has to make sense for me to get musicians to rehearse and all that. And you know, I just, at this point, I don't really see myself being big enough to take this out on tour or for people to go out and watch it live. Maybe for an opening act, I don't know. Well, I just have to think a little bit more about it. You know, I would not mind go out tour with this music if people want to see it. But yeah, there's also the thing about me not wanting to tour that much. Because when I'm touring, everything else is on a standstill. And that freaks me the fuck out. That stresses me out more than anything. So there you go. Thank you for that question though, KSWare. Thank you. Tommy Tomesco, salutare, hola. Will there ever be a Headless Solar guitar? Okay, I think I've received this question before. I'm just gonna take a sip from this. Maybe you should go back and watch my earlier FAQ soda. Okay, just kidding. This question is something I'm getting a lot, and my short answer is no. Because I'm a traditional guy, throwing my picks around. I like a guitar having a headstock. I feel like when I see a guitar that is headless, there's something missing, in my opinion. That's it. Maybe I'm too traditional. I don't give a f. It's my company. So as of right now, if there isn't really any beneficial reason for me to have a headless guitar, I won't have a headless guitar. I mean, if at some points becomes better or proves to be better than having a headstock on a guitar, then maybe I'll consider it. But as of right now, you know, this is the shit. I love this. Reverse headstock for the win. Daniel Lee, hey man, not sure if you remember, but I interviewed you in Dublin at the Meshuggah and the Haunted show like 2 years ago. Reference my profile pic. Oh, that's me. Like really small. I was super nervous going to interview the Haunted, mainly because of you, because I've been a fan for a while, but also the rest of the guys. One of my first metal shows was seeing the Haunted with Trivium in 2006. My question is, have you ever been super nervous interviewing some, for example on Coffee with Ola, because you are a big fan, and how do you overcome it? Thank you so much. And dude, nice seeing you again. Regarding meeting people and being nervous, yes, it happens when I, you know, meet people that I look up to, but at the same time, I have this mentality that everyone out there, including myself, is just another human being, you know, with their problems, with their shortcomings, their preferences, and so on. So with that in mind, and you're going into an interview, this guy you're interviewing is just doing his job. And with that mindset, I don't really get that nervous, to be honest. When I'm having a coffee with Ola, I'm probably more nervous about not getting a good interview or not. I mean, that always stresses me out a little bit, you know, that I won't be able to perform and make my guests happy. Because at the end of the day, I think my interviews, I want to spark something positive in my guests that make them feel happy and more welcome into my home and my situation, and just, you know, engage them more. I think I'm more nervous about that not happening more than actually interviewing this person. But really good question. Thank you so much.
Ola tasting shit.
Alright, is it time for Ola tasting shit? Okay, I'm gonna combine this Ola tasting shit with a Swedish word today, so... Great. Mormor Lisa's Fika Bites. And fika has actually been the Swedish word once. It's basically what we Swedes do as pastime. In Sweden, fika is something we do when we go to a cafe or at your home. You have a cup of coffee and maybe a short little cinnamon bun or a small little pastry or something like that. And then we converse and talk and socialize. Even at a lot of workplaces, there are scheduled fikas like this, where everyone has to go and sit and fika, basically, and have their coffee. And actually, I think the guy from IKEA, Ingvar Kamprad, said that the absolute best ideas are hatched during fikas. So I kind of agree. It's a nice pastime that we like to have in Sweden. And this is Fika Bites, which basically means it's some sort of small pastry for when you go fika. So there you go, Swedish word today. let me try it out. I see that my wife has been eating out of this. So this is a small little chocolate ball with coconut sprinkle thingies on it. And obviously, because it's Swedish and it's fika, it's the most amazing thing I've ever eaten. Great. Unbiased, Ola. Ola, in your opinion, are tube amps dying with the evolution of plugins and amp modelers? Also, are you going to do solar amps and pedals? That would be cool. Excellent question, and something I probably touched in a couple of discussions before. But are tube amps dying? Tube amps are not dying, but they are disappearing more and more. Okay, hear me out before you go, oh, a lot of racist, you hate amplifiers, oh, f you, I hate your wife, I fucking hate you and your fucking feet and all that. Before you say that, I'm an amp lover, okay. You probably see my channel, I test amplifiers, that's what I do, I love amplifiers. But with that said, I definitely see the trend where the up-and-coming generation of guitar players are not as used to tube amplifiers as I am, or as the older generation is. Maybe these new guitar players, their first contact with an amplified situation might be them hooking up a guitar into an audio interface or an Axe-Fx or a small little modeler or something like that. And that's becoming more of the norm rather than you get a practice amp, you know, and do that, because basically everyone has a computer and a lot of people can just get an audio interface. It's probably going to be cheaper than buying a small combo amplifier. So with the newer generation phasing out the older one, yes, I definitely see that amps are disappearing more and more. And you know what? The amplifier market is not easy to handle. I mean, you have this really big piece of a heavy object that you need to ship around the world if you're an amplifier company. It costs a shit ton of money to build, a lot of electronics that can potentially kill a customer, and shipping is really expensive as well. Getting an amplifier set up is sort of like a hassle today if you compare it to how easy everything else is, you know, with computers and, you know, getting music. And it's just like, I think the amplifier and cabinet thing will be more for the enthusiasts more than anything, and obviously for people that are playing live a lot more. You know, playing a live rig and all that makes a lot of sense to have an amplifier. But for a lot of people, it doesn't make sense to have a, you know, 100-watt amplifier in an apartment like this. I mean, a lot of people, they play with headphones through an audio interface. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think amps will disappear altogether, but I think there'll be a lot less of the bigger amplifiers and more of the smaller sized amplifiers. We see it in the past years. I mean, there's so many 5-watt amplifiers and 10-watt and 25, 50-watt. They're trying to kind of make the amplifier smaller so it's more convenient to ship. People don't really need 100-watt, you know, 10 watts is more than enough. So we're just seeing the amplifiers getting smaller and smaller and doing more features that compete with plugins and modelers like the Axe-Fx or the Kemper and so on. So no, I don't think that amplifiers are gonna disappear anytime soon, but there will definitely be less and less of it. Do I like this situation? You know, I like gear. So I like that we have the options to go through an audio interface if we want to, and you can still have an amplifier in a cabinet. You know, that rocks my socks off. I love playing for an amplifier because, you know, that response and in the room, you know, vibe, you can't really get that today with plugins and going for an Axe-Fx and headphones and all that. So yes, you know, I love amplifiers, but I also love new technique. And you know what? That's awesome, because depending on your situation, you can get whatever the hell you need or want. Isn't that good for everyone? Just saying. There you go. Armando, thank you so much. Nicholas Wolf, can you do an instructional video on how you live stream your rehearsals? Would be great to know how you route up the audio, etc. from your Axe-Fx with video from GH5, as most tutorials talk about syncing audio in post-production. Okay, so I start off with saying that I'm now using my Axe-Fx for this past live stream that I did. The Master of the Universe live stream I did where I played the full album. I basically have a Logic project that I load up, and with this, I have, you know, tracks of audio, all the backing tracks basically, and then I have a main guitar input track, and that is where my guitar is. And in there I have a bunch of different plugins, each for what type of sound I want. So I have one for clean, I have one for rhythm, and I have one for lead, and then I have a delay at the end. And then with automation in between the tracks, I automate preset changes, so I don't even have to do that. And that's how I run the whole guitar thing. My guitar is hooked up straight into whatever audio interface I'm using. When I'm out playing live, doing clinics, I use a UAD Arrow interface and this MacBook basically. And it's a very small and convenient rig. And on my live streams, I use this setup and I go from my audio interface into another audio interface that's connected to my PC, where everything is being streamed out through OBS, which is a software that's free for streaming basically. And for the talking, I use this Blue Yeti microphone, which I can mute on and off, so I can mute it while I'm playing. So basically what I do to sync everything up is that I do a test video where I just check the sync, and then I just sync everything together, and then I stream it basically. And I'm using this, a GH5 camera that I can angle with this little thing right here, so I can film myself. And from this camera, I have a HDMI going into this Elgato streaming HD60S. So it's basically like a capturing card for a camera. And basically that's it. That's what I do. Real simple, really easy, but also really not simple and really hard. Tyrone Cringe Heaven. Hey Ola, what do you think of the band Typo Negative? What do you think about doom metal in general? Cheers from Sweden. Oh, it's so sweet. That's so sweet of him. So Typo Negative is a band I've never listened to up until maybe a couple of weeks back, because one of my YouTube members, Mike, the invoicerer, that's his favorite band when he was growing up. So I was like, okay, I need to check this out. So I checked out that that hit album of theirs. I don't know the name, but I'm going to list it here. And I'll listen to it, and it's good. It's good. I understand it. It's like, you know, it's metal for horny chicks, basically. It's very sexy. But, you know, I can dig it. I can dig it. I think it was a good, solid album. Doom metal in general, it depends on what type of doom metal you're referring to. I think my favorite doom metal album is Dehumanizer with Black Sabbath, with Dio on vocals. Holy shit. If you haven't heard that album, do yourself a favor, go listen to it. It's amazing. Dehumanizer. I think if you're referring to Typo Negative type bands, I listen a lot to Moonspell, Irreligious, back there in the 90s. Mwah! Excellent album. But other than that, I don't really listen that much to doom metal. Candlemass, that's a great doom metal band. Sorcerer, a Swedish doom metal band that I played in for a little bit. They're excellent and awesome. Other than that, I don't really listen that much to it. But thank you. Riff of the day. All right, what should I do for Riff of the day? Yes, the hate mantra intro. I had a guy who asked me about this this past week and how I pick it. So we're gonna try and analyze this riff. The riff goes like this, up to speed. Okay, this guitar is tuned to E flat with a drop, so it's a drop C sharp. Shit. But the song is in drop C, okay. And this is a little kinnickety to play this riff, because there's a lot of galloping and then alternate picking pretty fast, so. Okay, so I think the problem here that people are having is that after the gallop, you end that with a downstroke, and the next thing I play is on the D string, and it's a downstroke. So it's kind of weird, so. So you have to kind of string skip and play down again, so. So practice that. Slow. Riff of the day. Great. Rob M. Hey Ola, I just saw Coheed in Cambria in St. Petersburg, Florida. Holy shit, they smoke light. What are your thoughts on Coheed? There's one album I listen a lot to in particular. I don't remember the name, but just as, you know, I'm just bad with album names. What the hell? It's sorry. I just don't pay attention. But it's a really good album. It's a concept album. And a couple of years back, I had a chance to do like a meet and greet with Coheed in Cambria in Sweden. And I did go to it. And, you know, it was this awkward thing where, you know, you stand on line with a bunch of people and the band comes out and it's like, hey, let's take a picture. Awesome. And the singer, when he came to me, he's like, I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, no, you don't. And that was the end of the conversation, basically. But yeah, my wife listens a lot to this band, and it's really good. It's like it's a wife-loving band that your wife loves. Dave Lanciani, what do you think about Poppy? I think she's created an interesting and creepy character that works well for YouTube. The fuck is a Poppy? All right, okay, Icky Baby, what's this? Okay, let's watch another one.
Engagement. Engagement. Everybody's getting engaged. Ariana Grande is engaged. Justin Bieber is engaged. Should I get engaged? Who will engage Poppy? Everybody's getting engaged. It's time.
Okay. Master Herder Harmonic Minor. Ola, have you heard about the band Cockpunch? No, I have not heard about them. But definitely something I would love to have after watching that Poppy video. Tatsumaki, hi Ola, please notice me. These FAQs are awesome. What do you think of Lars Ulrich from Metallica? I need an honest opinion. I feel like people hate him too much. I kind of agree with you. Why are people hating Lars Ulrich? Back during the Napster thing, Lars Ulrich kind of spoke up and, you know, became a hateful figure for a lot of people because he spoke up against, you know, music becoming free and people stealing music. And everyone's like, oh, you f***ing asshole, you are just thinking about money and money and money. But you know what? He was right all along. I don't know what to say. I mean, he's Lars Ulrich. He's one of the most influential metal bands of all time. In that sense, no one can get up to his level. I mean, it doesn't matter if he sucks or not right now. He's done so much for the metal community. You know, you can't really say anything bad about him, really. Can you? Is he an asshole? Well, I know. I have no idea. My opinion about his playing is that, fine, he's not as good as when he was younger, but he still delivers, and, you know, the shows are still awesome, so why would I bother? I mean, I understand that. People get old. So there you go. Lars Ulrich. Shit, yeah. And that was the last question. Thank you so much. I feel empowered now by this. Did you watch my latest FAQ soda? Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please put a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing. I would love if you can subscribe my channel because it helps out, actually, with my situation in life. If you have any questions, please post them in the comment section of this video and I'll look it through and consider your question for the next FAQ. Guys, thank you so much. Mwah. I love you. See you next time.